XSplit says live. Wait till I get confirmation from Twitch. Also, alright. Hello and welcome everyone to my weekly live stream. This time around, it's more KSP. Haven't streamed this in a while. And this time, I'm going to be starting up a new career mode in the current version 1.2.2 with the goal of getting a Kerbal to Duna as soon as we can. Hence, Duna or bust. Now, this is not a stock install. I am running a few mods, but none of them change the progression or the parts. I'm running mainly technical mods and a couple sort of atmosphere enhancers, like feel. So the mods I am running are Ch1 for random Kerbal radio transmissions, collision effects, which basically makes impacts with the ground a bit more exciting, crowdsourced science messages, so that we get a bit more variety in the messages from doing science. Kerbal Engineer, I'll talk more about that once we get in-game proper. Navyfish docking UI, Planet Shine, because it looks pretty. Radar Altimeter, which allows me to switch the main altimeter between radar, like terrain altitude and absolute altitude. Stage Recovery, to automatically recover stages that I drop if I have enough parachutes on them. Kerbal Alarm Clock to help me track mainly transfer windows. And that's it. So, without further ado, let us launch Game. It has been a while since I've played the leading edge of KSP. Those of you who know me on YouTube know that the vast majority of my KSP stuff is done in 1.0.5, which is a few versions prior. Also, just a quick heads up, while for the majority, mainly the US, it is April Fool's Day, it is currently April 2nd for me, so no jokes from me. I do like the new splash screens and science messages, or rather loading messages that we get here. I saw Flying Safe down here a couple of days ago, which for those who don't know is a reference to the one and only Scott Manley, who is, I'd wager to say, the best KSP content creator on YouTube. At least one of the best. Anyway, here we are. Start no game. We'll call it Duna or bust. And we'll go to the Vitello Confido, because why not? Now, what settings are we going to do? I'm going to disallow reverting flights. So once I hit launch, that's it, we're committed. No respawn. I will allow quick loading. So, enable comms network. That's cool. I'll keep no entry purchases on research just to keep things moving a bit more. Now, in advance, enable Kerbal experience, yes. Level up immediately, no. Allow negative, no. Part pressure limit, part G-force limit, and kerbal G limit as well. Let's see. Building impact multiplier. Enable extra ground stations. I will leave that on, actually. Occlusion modifier, vacuum. Wait. Apply to the effective size of objects that can include antennas used for airless objects. We'll put that up to just over 1. And use for objects with atmospheres. And put that up to 0.9, I think, because the thing with this is it's essentially telling the game like what size to assume the planet is for the radio transmissions, and for the airless bodies, for example, anything less than 1 allows you to basically send radio signals through the ground somewhat. So if you're below the horizon, you can still get a signal. And actually, I'm going to increase this to 0.95. There we are. Plasma blackout. And let's see. Cool. So accept. Start. Loading, loading, loading. Ah, hello, Gene. Nice to see you. Yep, got it. So, first off, always first 2 contracts, science and launch a new vehicle. Now, Kerbal Engineer. Yep, thanks, Werner. Kerbal Engineer up here. It doesn't, the way I'm going to be using it in this compact view, it doesn't give me any data that I can't figure out for myself. It just does the number crunching for me. And it won't show up when I'm flying unless I put one of these modules on it. And now these modules would be considered cheating because they give me all sorts of delta V and orbital data that I don't normally have, especially immediately starting a new game. So I won't be putting these modules on until I've upgraded my facilities, so that it's like basically until the facilities can match the data output of these modules, I won't be using them. However, these numbers up here, they're able to be calculated using the data provided on the parts. Kerbal Engineer just does the number crunching. So we do not need nearly that much fuel, and we don't need that much thrust either. So what I just did up here is switch Engineer into atmospheric mode. With that turned off, it assumes the specific impulse and thrust values of a vacuum. Turn it on and it assumes sea level at Kerbin. So when building out your first stages like this, you want to be in atmospheric mode, also planes, so that your delta V and your thrust are calculated for when you launch. Because you see, in a vacuum, this little booster here gives me higher thrust than in an atmosphere. So if I set it in vacuum and bring thrust down to what I would consider normal for launching, it wouldn't lift off in reality because it has lower thrust in the atmosphere. But that's what we have set now, and we'll have a few goo canisters just to do a little more science. Check your staging. Do not want engines firing at the same time as parachutes. Now I am anticipating this stream to get not really slow, perhaps a bit dull at times, just because of what it is. So, crew report from Launchpad. You look up at the stars and begin to count. You realize you should take off before you fall asleep. Indeed. And we'll do a goo. What say you? Goo doesn't seem to be doing much right now. Okay. Jebediah, out you get. EVA report. KSP tour stop number 5 of 31. Welcome to the launch pad. Keep that data and board. And you can hear chatter going off there. SAS 3, 2, 1, fire. Nice and sedate. And we'll just go sideways a bit. And burn out. Turn off SES, fire the parachute. Very nice. Whoop. Now we can do another goo. Jiggles and wobbles as the craft flies. Now. Damn it. If I grab the data out of this pod, I could do another crew report while flying like this, but I forgot, so I can't. So let's just time accelerate onto the ground. That rotation is a little concerning. Ow. Jeez, 5 minutes in and my neck is already giving me problems. Alright, so observe the goo. Seems bored. Yeah. Alright, so out we get. Another EVA report. Truly a very tiny step for Kerbal kind. Yep. Alright, so take and store the data and get another crew report from the KSP. This is our Space Center. We are home. Cool. So, over the past couple of days I have been playing another career mode just to test mods and such. And the last launch that I did was a moonshot. And I had some phantom talks. The capture kept spinning around, which was a little concerning. Alright, so we have now got fuel tanks, a bigger booster, and liquid fuel engine, as well as a decoupler, another experiment, and some antennas. I have enough to get one of these 3 nodes. I think I'm going to go for survivability, because sure it gives me heat shields and parachutes, but it also gives me the press map barometer. And especially early in the game, the more science experiments you can do, the better. So, there we are. What say you, Gene? Hold the Mach 16 up to an altitude of... Yeah, I can do that. Test the swivel splash down. I can do that. So. We don't need quite as many goos this time. What we do need is the swivel engine, a decoupler, and the flea. Now, I want to recover this flea, so let's stick a chute on it this side, because, well, I only need one chute. So, there. Now that will tend to pull us over this way, which will send us towards the ocean, which is where we need to go. So let's change our thrust to something a little more manageable and a little more sensible. So there we go. And I don't have batteries yet, so no point transmitting. And let's see. Oh, I've got fins. And I need fins. Launch. I should have put more instruments on this. Ah well. Can't revert. So, nothing more about the crew report. Launch. Going over sideways a bit. We need to get to the ocean. And burnout. Stage sap. Fire. Main engine. And there we are. We are over the ocean. So, crew report, flying over shores. The shores look inviting, and you watch the waves roll into the coast. Keep that data. Fire the parachute. Wibbly wobbly. Can I get the goo? What say you, goo? A little more science. Can turn off SAS now. So we're going a little fast. At this speed we're likely to break this engine. But a little burn brings our speed down nice and slow. And touchdown. Run test. Thank you. Another goo. The goo escapes into the water. No! Recover that data. EVA. You calculate the number of snacks you should bring to be able to swim to KSP. KSC, I think you mean. Doesn't make very much sense, that one. These community science reports are basically come up with by just people on the forums mostly. Arr, me hearties, let's show those landlubbers at KSC who the masters of the true high seas truly are. Haha. Recover that data and the ship. How much science did we get from that? 27. Very nice. Enough to get another... Bigger engine, bigger booster, and bigger tank. Or batteries, more science, and the science experiment storage unit. Ooh, don't have enough of that. So... bigger engines, bigger tanks. There we go. So, now... wait a minute. Okay. So, I think we're ready to escape the atmosphere. So, let's do that. Put some science experiments on here. I'm putting them around here because A, they're physics parts, and when they're here, Jeb can get out on the launch pad and take the data from them. So, thermal, It's shelled. I do not need nearly so much ablator. Do need a decoupler though. I'm basically gonna build out a redstone to launch us into space. I'm going to try to max out the performance of this engine. How many parts do I have left? Quite a bit. Very long ship this. There we go, we've got about 3 kilometers per second of delta V in this thing now. And I'm going to add on some fins, because we do not want to be flipping around like some crazy person. What else can we do? Don't have any electrics yet. Yep, that'll do. So, call this one Redstone 1. I hope this works. Let's see. Electrical charge required but not generated. That's a lie. Can I transmit science? I don't need to. So basically the idea of this is that we'll go into a suborbital trajectory and just basically just kiss space. So we have, let's see, aim the camera at the pod. I love this feature. Log temperature. Temperature reading spikes suddenly. Did someone start the engines? I sure hope not. Log pressure. Mission control checks the readings against the local weather report to calibrate the barometer. Well, yeah, I suppose. And we're wobbling. That's not a good sign. Now to get Jeb. No point doing another EVA report. I can take the data from both of these, which will leave them ready for when we get into space. I'm not going to run these experiments as we're ascending. I'm going to get the goo from high atmosphere, but that's it. Because on Kerbin, the higher you go, the more science you get. And I can run these experiments low down later on. So, in previous versions of KSP, mainly before they updated the aerodynamics model, you could just go straight up and come straight back down, and that was the most efficient way to get into space. But now, with the atmosphere the way it is currently, if you were to do that, you would not slow down in time to be able to deploy your chute, and you would splat. Now, we actually have to be going sideways in quite a wide parabola to be able to land safely. So we'll increase acceleration to 2 Gs just to get our altitude up, because we are a bit flat at the moment. Maintain 2 Gs. This is how I mainly launch, is by looking at this G counter here. And when we're up about this high, I throttle it back to just over 1 G, so that we're still accelerating nicely, but we don't over-accelerate, because hard acceleration low down in the atmosphere is just wasted fuel. Let's check out apoaps. 53 kilometers. Very nice. Now we're still at 40 kilometers, so we still have a ways to go before we will be in a stable suborbital trajectory. There we are. Apoapsis is above the atmosphere. Start going sideways more. We'll end up with an apoapsis of about 80 kilometers. But now, yep, 52 kilometers. Basically, I want to get this track as far around the planet as I can. Flatten out our trajectory so that we're not falling down quite so fast. And you can also see I'm bending down towards the ground. That's to try and keep my apoapsis from rising too much. And while I think of it, we can run a goo. The goo seems to be getting very cold now. Indeed. 9 science. That's a lot. Yep, 80 kilometers, apoapsis. And we are in space. Yay! And I really overbuilt this rocket. In fact, I'm going to coast to apoapsis and burn the rest of my fuel there. So, crew report. It seems we are very much in space right now. The sky seems mostly below us. Keep that data. Press map barometer. What say you? The instrument reads 0. It's as if we're in a vacuum. Something like that, huh? Log temperature. Seriously? You want to know the temperature now? We're in space. Who cares? A lot of people. Because depending on if you're on the day or night side of the body that you're orbiting, the temperature varies quite considerably. In the case of Earth, the temperature on the daylight side... Whoa. This thing's almost a single stage to orbit. Alright. Ditch that, and we'll go retrograde. So yes, in Earth, the temperature on the daytime side, in the full sun, is about 200 degrees, sometimes 250. In the shade, on the night side, it plummets to about negative 100. So, depending on if you're on the light or the dark side, temperature can fluctuate 300 degrees or more. Hey, Shield's here. Nice to see you. We are currently suborbital, but only just. This is awesome. Of course, no redstone ever went this far. And it looks like I have to change my occlusion values again. Because you see, this line here is connecting to the KSP, and it's going through the terrain. So I need to increase that occlusion value so that that doesn't happen. I wonder, can I change that here in the settings? Volume, video graphics, no, I don't think I can. No. I cannot. So... After this flight, I think I'll, yeah, I'll close the game for a little bit and tweak that setting, because I do not like being able to transmit through the ground. It's just janky and weird. So let's time accelerate until atmosphere. Gonna be coming in on the night side of the planet. Alright, and let's aim up like this, because with the air coming in this way, it'll glance off and help us. Basically, it'll help decrease our descent rate. Essentially, trying to fly this capsule. Ow, my neck. Seems every time I sit down to stream, my neck plays silly buggers with me. It doesn't happen any other time I'm at my computer, only when I'm streaming. It's really annoying. I didn't do a goo in space. Damn it. Oh well, I guess I'll have a goo left over for when I land. So let's just time accelerate. We are using up a blader. Slowly but surely. How's that orbit going? Coming down nicely. Heat shield's starting to glow nice and red. The blader is coming off. Very slowly. And we'll just go ballistic now. Jeb couldn't be happier. Ah, there's some plasma trails and shock heating. And communications blackout. Because of course, all these charged particles around the spacecraft, radio transmissions can't really penetrate that. And a blader is plummeting. And there we go. Wow. We only needed about 20 units of a blader for that little flight. Signal reacquired. Chute deployed. And I won't jettison the heat shield just now. What I will do is show you the radar altimeter. So right now, this is above sea level. I don't think I'm above ocean, so I just hit the tilde key and it goes blue, which shows me it's in radar altitude mode. And yeah, the terrain below me is about 200 to 300 meters above sea level. Yeah, looks like we're coming down near a lake. You guys can't see that at all. So, you know, let's just turn the lights on in the pod and see what Jeb sees. So, here's radar altimeter. It's pretty dead right now because we're not really anywhere near the ground. We're still 2 kilometers up. And chute deployed. Jettison the heat shield now. Down it goes. Bang. I think in the next version of KSP they're adding a setting to increase the ambient light, so views like this will get a bit brighter, which will be very nice. Oh, seems landing on a slope. And poof. Okay, should be grasslands. Yep. Goo takes the shape of a leaf. Alrighty then. Out you get, Jeb. Taking the EVA report from Coburn's grasslands. As you go trudging through the grass, you hope you don't step on a cow patty. The spaceship would stink for the rest of the trip. Not very nice. Take data. Take data. Board again. Oh, temperature. Temperature here is quite pleasant. It would be a nice place to live. Cool. Oh, pressure. A blade of grass gets caught in the outer casing of the sensor and obstructs the view of the display. Oh well, we'll just make something up. They'll never know anyway. Cool. Recover. Lots and lots of science. So, Could get more fins. Yeah, we'll get those. And, I don't want plane parts just yet. Yeah, we'll get this one, so this gives us a fairly useless probe core, a battery, the Science Junior, the experiment storage unit, which I love, and a relay antenna. Sweetness! So let's see. I suppose the next step would be orbit. But let's see. Lots of temperature and atmospheric surveys. Let's see how those surveys look. Yep, thank you, Gene. I don't really want to take any of those, even though they're close. Although this one would be good for a plane. Let's see, what do we have? We don't have any plane parts yet. We only need 11 more science, however. I think we can get 11 more science. So this can here is amazing, because basically what it does is, instead of me having to get a Kerbal out to take the experiments from all of these instruments, I can just hit a button on this thing and it'll do it for me. Which means I can load up on experiment cases and I can either ditch them with a different stage or have them explode on landing, and it won't matter. Because really trying to, especially make a re-entry with these science juniors still on the spacecraft, extremely difficult. There we go. Sweetness. So, Science 1. This thing is basically just going to shoot over towards the mountains. And it'll land where it lands, and I can do science there. At the moment, though, I can do science right here. 7.5 science. Just from that. Let's launch. Whoa, this thing's a little squirrely. I can do yet more science. 17.5 science. And collect all. So now these two are done, and all the science that was in them is now in that can. This is not going to get very far. Or maybe it will. Let's see, observe goo. Yeah, there's a little bit more science in that. Log pressure. 100 million pascals. That can't be right. Yeah, you would be a pancake under that. So, yep, the ambient temperature is the definition of beach weather. And collect all. We have burnt out, and I should have put a couple of there. So, in fact, I'm going to do this. We're going to end up in the grasslands. Damn it. So I'm just going to fire these 4 shoots like this. And that way, we should be able to land somewhat comfortably. Never mind the fact that we're lawn darting into the ground right now. Once these shoots deploy fully, we should flip over. And there we go. Whee! Pendulum! Tick tock, tick tock. And a nice, easy landing. This is a nice addition to the shoot deployment angle, which keeps canopy clipping to a minimum. So hopefully we can just plop this thing directly on its tail. But just in case we can't, I'll pin these here and observe the bay as soon as we land, and then immediately store it in the can. Less than 100 meters to go. So we are about to land. And plop. Observe. Collect all. Ah! Bang. Ouch. That hurt. Cool. It survived. And there's no more of that to be done. There's a little bit more of that to be done. Cool. Recover. Nice. And of course we still have a booster laying out there, so we'll just recover that from here. Back here into science. Give me the plane parts. So let's see. Back here at the tracking station. What are these? Sector November 6 X-ray and Scenarios Desolation. Which contract wants me to look at those places? And not that one, not... well... okay. Crew report in flight below. Thank you. And that one. Very nice. So now we can launch a plane. We do not need modern propellant. We'll turn off torque because we don't need that. Fuselage. Fuselage. And we'll have a tail. And I'll do a V-tail just because I can. I want that tank. And the little Juno engines. Of course, air intakes. Nice. Landing gear is always a nice thing to have. Nice wide stance. Max brake torque. And we'll have it sit in a nose-up attitude on the runway. Check stability derivatives. Very nice. God damn it, my neck. And I'll give this thing some science things to do. Communitron antenna and a couple of batteries. Cyplane 1. Of course, this runway is extremely bumpy. However, all of this nice grassland out here is perfectly flat. This is low pressure from the runway, low temperature, and crew report from the runway. There we go, not bothering to read any of this. Also get Jeb out, so that he can take the data from these two. And also get an EVA report from the runway. He says, the smell of asphalt, but there's no asphalt on this runway, it's all dirt. Alright. Let's just get this thing turned around. I do not like how the wheels behave now. It's because the game's now in Unity version 5 and the physics and everything is all weird. But they're just so goddamn slidey and bouncy. Alright. Full thrust. Let's get out of here. Come on. Come on. Nose up. Ascend. There we go. Oh! Shit. Okay. Nope. 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 Alright. Bring that torque back online. I've missed a very important control surface. This aircraft has no ailerons. Jebediah, why would you elect to fly an aircraft that has no ailerons? We all know you're a badass, but you're not quite that much of a badass. Whoa. And brakes, brakes, brakes. Do not crash into the runway. Slow down already. Thank you. Alright. Yeah, let's get some science while we're at it, because we can. We're Kerbals, that's what we do. Well, that's the first time I wanted to revert a flight. We got some more science though, so not quite enough. Alright. Ailerons for roll control. Also increase the size of the wing. Give us a bit more control. These particular winglets are probably the only part left in the game that still looks something like its original design. So how our stability now? Very nice. Okay. Anything else I want to stick on this? No real point in having a parachute on it. I'm going to stick one of these containers on it, however. And I do not have action groups. Damn it. Okay. Well, we'll just cover the antenna with it. Here we go. Cyplane 1.5 is ready for takeoff. Yeah, these slidey wheels may make driving rovers really fun, but it makes it extremely hard for aircraft to track straight down the runway. Phantom Flying BR2 says hi. Hi there. I apologize if this is at all boring for you, but I like KSP. So, let's see. We will activate navigation to this place. And lift off. We actually have roll control this time. So let's see. Log temperature still over the shores. And you know what? I'm going to pin these experiments. Don't need nearly that much thrust at this time. Like KSP2, it's nothing boring. Yeah, it's just KSP is one of those games where it's often only exciting for the person in the chair playing. Ooh, flying over Copenhagen's grasslands. Cool. And I keep forgetting that the barometer is still a very situational experiment. Unlike a lot of the other reusable experiments, the barometer is still very selective about when it's biome specific. And another crew report. Thank you. And time for a nice long jaunt out to this one. So let's just full thrust, pull it around, max G. In my mod testing game, actually, I got a contract to take a tourist Kerbal on a high performance flight. Specifically, this particular Kerbal wanted to pass out from G-lock. Kerbals are crazy. And incidentally, that's what this bar here on the IVA view is. That's the G-stress meter. It's a little annoying in that in the settings menu to set up things like tolerances and such. The Kerbal G tolerance meter, like slider, it shows a value of like 1 point something or other. so a percentage of an unknown value. It would be nice if instead it actually showed you the specific G's at which the Kerbals will black out, because if so, then I could set it quite realistically and have it around 15 or so. Well, it will be about 8 or 9 for a plane like this, because his sitting upright and the G's will be down through his spine, so that tends to make the body doesn't handle G's parallel to the spine very well. However, in a rocket on your back, having the G's come through your chest, you can handle a lot of G's that way. It's 15 G's sustained will cause you to pass out and potentially die. More instantaneous G's perpendicular to the spine, anything more than 50 G's is serious injury, and 100 G's instantaneous is death. Very nice. And that's pretty much all this plane had to do for now. But I don't really want to fly back to the KSP over there, because there's a runway right here. So, yeah. So yeah, hopefully in later versions of the game we're able to set a blackout G and then a potentially death and certain death G, in which case I would set it to 9, 50 and 100 respectively. We are coming in very fast. I probably should have put flaps on this. Oh well. Let's just pull some positive and negative G's. Just wash off some speed here. Also can side slip it like a glider. This thing side slips amazing. This is actually a real technique, not quite as drastic in real life, but sailplanes especially use it. It's called side slip. Basically, you get the plane flying like this, really sideways, and it's a way to decrease altitude without gaining airspeed. Because, especially with a landing, if you're coming in too high, especially in a glider, you want to slow down as much as possible whilst losing all that height. And nice smooth touchdown, and the full brakes, a little squirrely, and stopped. Very nice. Is this a new biome perhaps? Nope, it's just the shores. Damn it. Anyway. And on that side slip note, it's quite an advanced technique, because essentially you have to put in, say, right rudder but left aileron and control with pitch. Oh, a light fell over. And the difficult part is aircraft tend to be unstable in that regime with what's known as crossed controls. But if any of you have heard of the Gimli glider, the I believe it was a 767 that ran out of fuel in Canada, the pilot of that aircraft was an ex-glider pilot, and he was able to use a side slip maneuver to, well, first of all, he was able to fly the plane correctly to make it to a runway, and then successfully sideslip it to lose height without gaining too much airspeed. And in a big aircraft like that, it is very easy to lose control of it. So I think we can orbit Kerbin at this point. I'm just going to look at these other temperature things. It's above, it's above, that's above, it's below, that's above. No. I don't like any of those survey contracts that require a flight to be above a particular altitude, because that's usually very, very difficult to affect, especially with these low tier parts. I saw something similar in that documentary, doing another name in English, translated. Editors is applied to do the same thing in a. Yeah, that was the Gimli glider. Air crash investigations, or Mayday, is what it's generally known as. And yes, he basically put it down on an X runway that was then a drag strip. And to top it all off, his his nose gear failed when he finally landed the thing. So not only has he run out of fuel, but he's now scraping his plane's face along the runway. And incidentally, the whole reason why he ran out of fuel was because the filler truck. It's like this whole thing happened in Canada, which uses the metric system. So kilograms, liters, and such. So the fuel truck that serviced the aircraft at the airport, all its pumps and gauges and such were in liters. The plane's tanks and fuel system is calculated in pounds, not even gallons, but pounds. So the pilot says he wants, say, 9,000 pounds of fuel. The filler truck then has to calculate, like the truck operator has to then calculate how much that is in liters to be able to pump in the requisite amount that was requested. And yeah, this particular filler truck driver flubbed his calculations. So instead of so basically he put in far too little fuel. And yeah, the plane ran out mid-flight. So I've got a max of 30 parts, but at least my tonnage is not restricted at this time. So I'm going to have some liquid boosters on this thing. They're going to have less fuel and less efficient engines in them. And control authority is going to be 22%. Very nice. Oh, do not forget parachute. There we go, and I'm over my parts cap. God damn it. By 5 parts. Oh, it's fine. Orbiter 1. So 23,000 funds. I didn't want to have to upgrade the VAB quite so soon, because it's 225,000 funds, and I've only got, in fact, damn it, come on. God, I hate Windows 8. Calculator. So 319,000 funds minus 225,000. It's gonna be tight. Ouch. But at least now I can launch this damn thing. Alrighty then. And 3, 2, 1, fire. Now we're launching without patch connects, so I don't know my times, Apple apps and all that stuff, and I don't have maneuver notes. I shouldn't need them. It'd just be nice to have. Again, it would be nice to have some struts as well. Come on, get over there. Thank you. When am I going to release my next video on YouTube? I released one just this morning, the XB70 Valkyrie. The one after that, I'm not sure. The export of this stream will be going up within the next week, but I don't have a schedule with releasing videos on YouTube. It's just when I can find the time and motivation to record, then edit, then upload. I do try to get at least one video a week out, but yeah, there are times when I just don't feel up to it, unfortunately. So how are we doing? We are doing very nicely. So we're only burning at like 20% throttle here. Maybe 25. Perhaps it's up nice and high. Jeez, I think I've built a moonshot right here. Which is nice because I was planning on getting high curb and science. Two and a half G's acceleration, because we are a bit slow at this time. Booster separation, very nice. Apple is rising very nicely. Oh, I forgot, I was gonna change the occlusion value. Apoapс is now above 70 kilometers. We are about to burn out in this stage. And then burn out. That is almost a constant burn to orbit. Yay! Alright, observe Materials Bay. The microgravity has greatly affected the growth of crystalline structures. Loose objects are also floating around the bay in a very messy but fascinating way. Very nice. The goo seems to have clumped into a sphere. It also appears to have become brittle. Coolio! Press map barometer. Yeah, you already got that. And temperature, already got that. Crew report, already got that. So let's coast on up to Apoapс, raise our periaps, and go a bit higher. So I need to get above 250 kilometers to get into high Kerbin orbit. So let's just burn for it. 200, let's go 300. Here we are. Bugger all fuel used. Nice done, thank you. I have been playing this game for almost 3 years now. So here we are in high Kerbin orbit. You really are high as a kite, Rocket Man, maybe higher. Hardy, hardy, har. Observe the goo. Mr. Goo and Badlands seems like a bad combination for you. Rather than opening a Pandora's box, you'll forgo the experiment and make up some data to send back to KSC. Okay, I think that's a little bug in the community science thing. Because that was a Badlands entry. Yeah. It's even stranger because we're not even over the Badlands, we're over the deserts. I've never actually been to the Badlands. I've been trying ever since I saw Scott Manley go there. But I've just never been able to do it. Alright, let's collect all that data. And I can't EVA just yet. Now I could just lower my periaps here and make a return, but that's not the best option, because if I do it here, not only will I be then landing in the daytime, but I'll be coming in at a shallower angle. There we go. Very nice. I'll be splashing down in the ocean here. So this is going to be the fastest re-entry we have ever made to date. So let's spin the camera around. And we'll jettison this stage across our orbit, so that little kick changes our inclination rather than our periapps. And there's the atmosphere. Let's go, go, go. Oh, temperature from upper atmosphere. Crew report from upper atmosphere. And pressure data from upper atmosphere. And we will collect all of that. 4 times time acceleration. Shock heating. Signal blackout any second. I said signal blackout any second. Oh, things are blowing up over there. Whee! That was probably a materials bay. And loss of signal. Signals returned. That was a very sedate return trajectory. We used up 25 units of ablator. Not very much at all. Again, Delphi 99. Hi, nice to see you. KSP, career mode, and all that. And sploosh. Really cover that vessel. Very nice. Lots and lots of science. Now, permit me a moment. I'm just going to jump into the settings of this game and change the occlusion. Of the, what I'm trying to say here, the, comms net. Here are comms parameters. I have that 1.3. Yeah, save that. Incidentally, if any of you want to change the settings of a game that you've already started, it's just in the install. If you go into saves and persistent, just open it in the text editor and scroll down and find the setting that you want to change. As to where I'm from Australia, the Great Southern Land. You probably can't tell it from listening to me because I have a very weird voice. Stirring oxygen tanks. Uh-oh. Gonna go Apollo 13 here. Staging moon landing. I hope Squad releases some more Kerbal animations. They always do them so well. think my favorite to date is the asteroid redirect animation they did. Here we go again. Now, what contracts can we get here? Explore the moon. Fly by and gather scientific data from the moon. Lots and lots of cash monies. Doing that. Do we have any more of those testing things? Nope, they are all the same. However, we have enough to upgrade the Mission Control Center, and fairly soon we will have enough to upgrade the tracking station. So let's see, what can we do here? Test the flea orbiting Kerbin. Ferry tourists to their destination, suborbital flight. Nah. Above. Below. Cooper in flight below. Yeah, I can do that. Thank you. Cash monies. Nah. To me, voice and language is normal. I think it's because I'm used to listening to. Yeah. I thought I was American. Well, that's probably because I watch and listen to a lot of American, mainly YouTubers. Alright. Let's break out the Science Plane 1. And, yeah, just get this flight over and done with. Let's see. Activate navigation. Jeez, I hate these wheels. I hate them. And while we're out here, we might as well get some science reports from over the highlands and the mountains. I'm not going to be landing on any of that terrain, especially not in this thing. But at the very least, we can get a little more science. I love this feature too, being able to see into the cockpit. Unfortunately, it doesn't update the like the cockpit instruments and such in real time. But yeah, it's a nice little feature. It also puts into perspective the size of these aircraft. Like even a tiny aircraft like this is pretty big. Whoa. Pitch up. We do not want to be doing a crash dive right now. Man, this thing is pretty damn big. Ow. My neck is not happy with me. Let's see. Yeah, I still love grasslands. Nope, there's highlands. We'll get a crew report from highlands as well. We'll just transmit that. And another one. And now let's get some mountains before we head back. Still highlands. Mountains. Let's not crash into them. If Brazil, you say? Cool. If I remember correctly, you are the first South American that I've had on stream or subscribed. Nice to meet you. This is a rather nice little plane. This is also quite a fast little plane as well, because 270 meters per second, that's like 0.7. And it's only got these two tiny little engines. Now, let's just do a little test. We're 3.5 kilometers up. Let's put this thing into a dive and see if we can get this thing supersonic. It's 300 meters per second. No, we're not going to get the supersonic, at least not from this height. It's still pretty fast, and we still have to land this thing. Now, if we're ever strapped for science, there are about 32 biomes around the KSC at each building and such. So, I could just build a little science truck that's basically nothing but goos and materials bays and just go cruising around the KSC for an hour. But hopefully, we don't have to do that, It's just an option if we need to. Hopefully, the next launch I do will be out to... Well, I do have a contract to fly by the moon, so we'll do that first. And then I think we'll do a flight out to land on Minmus, because Minmus has a lot of science. There we go. We're now stable-ish, perhaps. Whoa! Sliding sideways. Alright. So, next mission will be fly by the moon, and then after that, land on Minmus. Yay. 207 science. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Electrics gives me solar panels and a new probe core. Yeah. I want that. I can still get one of these or one of these. Let's see. Gives me struts. Yeah, wings. Struts. And wings. Why not? Sweetness. Alright. Anything new? Nope. Alright. Time to make a moon flyby craft. Right. Still, we want this. We also want this and this. And now I'm going to put on the engineer and a comms antenna. And heat shields. And 240, yeah. Or rather 140. And high moon, low moon, high and low moon. I'm not really expecting to be able to get low moon science with a proper flyby. Or rather a just flying by rather than orbiting. But I might, if I can plan it right. Solar panels. This is a very similar upper stage to the last one we had. Do not forget the parachutes. Very nice. Now, the last first stage I had was 4 tanks long. I'm going to give it another tank. Yep, that'll work. Because I'm also going to have, again, liquid boosters. This thing is going to be very similar to the Falcon Heavy rocket. Yeah, just a little bit more fuel. And Stratus Maximus. Can't forget control fins either. KSP solution, everything. More engines. Where's the lie? Where is the lie? Alright. We're going to be able to recover these boosters, not this center stage, however. Alright. Here. All good. All good. Fantastic. Wonderful. Lovely. Amazing. Good man. Okay. Parachute issues? No. Very, very lovely. Moon. Shot 1. Right, save. Do we have enough funds yet to upgrade the tracking station? Because I want to upgrade the tracking station. We do not. We do not. Alright. Test thud at the launch site. Yep, I can do that. Test solid fuel in flight. Yeah, I can do that. Alright. Let's upgrade the tracking station and do these couple testing missions first. So let's see, wait, it was testing, yep, hammer in flight. And the third on the launch pad. So yeah, this is going to be a very ghetto rocket. Reduce the gimbal limit. So hammer needs to be 13 kilometers, yada yada. Cool. Very nice. This is a very ghetto rocket. There's testing. Alright, let's see. So we can slow down before that. So we need to get this solid fuel booster above 13 kilometers and below 18, and between 100 and 250 meters per second. And speed is good. And altitude is good, so ditch that stage. Fire! Engine! Very nice. Very, very nice indeed. Cool. Oh, damn it. I'm going way too fast. No, Jebediah! Oh no. Jeb's dead. Jeb is dead. There's no way around this. Jeb is dead. God damn it. That's what you get for not planning a mission correctly. Jebediah, no. And he was my best pilot, damn it. He was my only pilot. No, he wasn't. He was my best pilot, though. I should have known I couldn't get through a mission without killing at least one Kerbal. Science staff from Space Ground Kerbin, I can do that. Alright. Moonshot 1, Valentina, let's go. Alright. F5 for safety. Let's go. Much more stable with those struts on. I don't know why it always, every launch wants to pitch south. I do not know. Alright. Now that I have all this engineering data, I don't need to go to the map except to plan my maneuvers. The main thing I'm watching is time to apoapse and apoapse height, because that determines my throttle setting and my pitch angle. Basically, you want to keep your pitch angle pretty well high until you pass about 35 kilometers, which I'm passing now, and you want to try and keep time to apoapse around a minute, really between 40 and 60 seconds. And that will tend to give you a launch profile that is nice and efficient, and you increase or decrease, or rather you increase your time to apoapse by burning at a higher throttle setting and at a higher pitch angle, and the inverse for lowering it. And stage burnout in 12 seconds. Basically, as the time to apoapse starts to rise, I pitch over more and more. Boost burnout, stage sap. Throttle up to maintain time to apoapse. Just get scatterer. I've tried that before. It's too much of a drain on my processor. I would love to get scatterer and um, environmental visual enhancements, but they just take too much of a drain on power and make the game run at an even lower frame rate than it already does, especially on stream. Alright, let's just coast on up to Apple-Apps. It's circularized in a nice low orbit. Because the thing is, the lower your orbit is, the better your the more efficient you'll be, basically. And there we go. Nice, stable orbit. And I've got about half the delta V required for the lunar injection left in this stage. Speaking of lunar injection, I'm going to attempt a free return trajectory, which basically means one burn will get me there and back. Don't know why I'm putting it there. And if I can do this right, then I should be able to get an encounter that gets me nice and low to the moon while still letting me return to Kerbin. And basically it ends up with me coming around the front of the moon rather than going around the back. Essentially, the later I burn, the lower each of these periapses will be. So there, 30-kilometer periaps on both the moon and Kerbin. So basically, if I get this one burn right, I'll go to the moon, get nice and close, slingshot around it, and come back. All with one burn. Free return trajectories. They do take more delta V and more planning than just a straight home and transfer maneuver, but it basically means if something goes wrong after the burn, then you don't have to do anything. You just don't land. You just come home, which is what the Apollo missions did. Unfortunately, Apollo 13 was past that point. They'd already made a mid-course correction to put them on a direct approach to the moon. So they were no longer on a free return trajectory when their oxygen tank blew. And part of the debate about the rescue plans was considering firing up the CSM main engine to put them back on a free return trajectory and bring them home within a day or two. Unfortunately, there was no way to tell the condition of that engine, so they had to consider it dead, gone. As in, if you light that candle, you lose the crew. and the lunar module engine did not have enough fuel nor thrust to be able to affect their required burn. So instead, they opted to go around the back of the moon, which took them several more days. And I'm getting phantom talks again. Great. This is what happened just this morning, actually, in my other save. I did this exact same mission, or same type of mission rather, free return trajectory flyby of the moon, and on stage step I had phantom talks. And I'm missing the moon. Great. Damn it. Very nice. Yep. Too much. Too much power. There we are. Much better. Right. Why do I get these phantom talks? Because Alt X centers my trims and it still rotates. F5 for safety. Alright, let's bring in Kerbal Alarm Clock. And basically it allows me to set reminder timers for a lot of things. What's this one? Side slap. Cool. Yeah, and it automatically sets to the next major event to happen, which is an SOI change for this spacecraft. So, and I can add a margin, so a 1 minute margin. Add that. 2 days and 14 minutes from now, and just time accelerate. And it will automatically drop me out of time acceleration once I arrive. Also, I just remembered I need science data from space around the moon. So just transmit that. So I basically came up and allowed the moon to catch up with me, and then I'm going to slingshot around the interface of it at 30 kilometers, which is pretty freaking close. And yeah, shoot back down to Kerbin. Hello, KD321. We're just doing a lunar flyby mission with phantom torques. So my spacecraft spins randomly, which is very annoying. Alright, so we don't need to do any course corrections around the moon just now. What we can do is a crew report. From this high up, the canyons look like scars across the moon's face, which is appropriate considering how much the moon has survived the millennia after millennia. Save that data. Log pressure. Instrument read 0. Cool. Thermometer. That is way too long for me to read. Let's observe a goo. Briefly consider filling one of those canyons with goo. I wouldn't recommend it. Save that, and we'll observe the materials bay. Your lab report is strategically written to convince the KSP to let you land on the moon. In time. Collect all. So now, that is our flyby contract completed. We just need to get in to get the low moon science. We're coming close enough that if we had the Delta V and the equipment, we could land from this approach. Do a straight orbital insertion to landing burn. Alright, that should be close enough. Near the moon, yay! Log pressure. And temperature. Goo. And materials. Very nice. Collect all. Sweet. So yeah, as of now, it's like we could run out of power, we could like lose control, and we would still make it back home. And I'll just add another SOI, change alarm. It seems like the Phantom Talks have disappeared, which is nice. Because there is one more maneuver we still need to do. So yeah, we're going this way. We still have to come up and down. It's like perhaps is almost 2 days away. But if we were to come back on this extreme orbit, it's likely that we wouldn't slow down in time to land. So I'm going to add a maneuver here that will use up most of the rest of our Delta V to put us on a slightly more favorable orbit. Still pretty... wow. Alright. So let's try this again. Yeah. What expedition's ever done? Well, this is the first time we've flown by the moon, so not very many. Right, F5 for safety. So it's still not going to be a perfect return trajectory. But at least it's going to be a whole lot better than what we would have had otherwise. And also, let's bring up full thrust on that engine. So it's going to be 32-second burn. So basically I'm going to finish this burn 10 seconds before I impact the atmosphere. It's not a lot of margin for error. Alright. I'm going to start at 2 seconds early. At 35 seconds. Forget it. Burn, 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 burn. "25 seconds till atmosphere. 22. 15 seconds. There we are. We're out of fuel. 8 seconds. Wait, what? Alright. Just ditch that stage. Something weird happened there. But we're all good, so just try and fly this a bit. We're coming in extremely fast. Mach 8 to be precise. Oh boy. Let's see. Things are getting a little hot there. Things are getting a little warm. We're very close to the Space Center, though. Signal blackout. Come on, let's try to fly this capsule in. Whoop! It's blown up. Thankfully, nothing's blowing up here. How are we on a blader? Plenty. Valentina's looking a little concerned. So am I. Because we're still 2 kilometers per second at 34 kilometers up. And look, there's the Space Center. Still trying to fly this capsule a bit. Maintain our altitude even just a little bit. Alright, let's go ballistic. Alright, now we're slowing down nicely. 24 kilometers, 1200 meters per second. It's much more favorable. Impact time 50 seconds. Signal reacquired. We could just about wave to them at this distance. Ow, neck hurts. Alright. And safe shoot. Subsonic. 13.5 kilometers. Deploy shoot. But looks things we're going to be landing in the water, which is nice. Lights on. Yep, we're going to be in this little lagoon here. It's nice. Shoot deployed. Jettison heat shield. Sploosh. Successful Muna flyby. And being that I've been streaming for almost 3 hours now. Sploosh. Cool. Yeah, I've been streaming for about 2.5 hours now, so once I see what we're going to be doing next time, I'll wrap it up. It's like 12:50 Australia. Here it's almost midnight. Wow. And thank you for the applause. I do try. Alright. Almost 400 science. Get docking adapters, RCS, so that we can dock in space. And also get fairings, and I can get one more. 4 AM in the UK. What are you doing up then? And we'll get bigger tanks. And well, next contract for Explore the Moon is Orbit the Moon, so we'll get that. And test the tiny heat shield splashdown, I can do that. Test the poodle engine splashdown, yeah, we'll save that. So wow, we've got viewers from Brazil, Washington, and the UK. Wow. So, this has been the first entry in my KSP Duna or Bust series. So, in this series, we've gone from no space program whatsoever to a flyby of the moon. We did, unfortunately, lose Jebediah. Damn it. But Valentina stepped up and took his place. Something tells me she wanted a top job all along. But next time, we will be going into orbit around the moon, landing on Minmus, and hopefully sending a probe into interplanetary space. So, yeah, thanks for everyone who tuned in, stuck around, watched the export, etc. And yes, this will be exported over to my YouTube channel. It, along with my Twitter and Facebook, are linked down below, where you can get updates on streams and videos that I do. Until next time, see you all later. Love your stream. Thanks for streaming. Thank you. So, yes. This has been fun. And because XSplit and Twitch love to cut things off at the end, I'm just going to leave it live for a little bit. Also, many thanks to those of you who followed. Very much appreciated. See ya.